the great and congratulations of Dr. Sharma, great visionary leader India has taught in the realm of science, technology and innovation. His guidance, his support and innovative approaches have established several bridges connecting science with people, not only with people of the country in all realms of life, but also with specific specializations and thereby reducing the gap between humanities and natural sciences. And this is something that NEP and now our new institutional arrangements for governance of science, technology and innovation, ANRF, are trying to do, and that's what we need to work out, to how we connect where I am, Nalanda University, with the ancient knowledge, ancient insights. We just do not celebrate the way we celebrate them alone, but take the lessons of the future. That's one part. The second is how do we reduce the gap between natural sciences and humanities. Somehow, in our minds and in our practices and in our approaches, we have given them a hierarchical order, and that hierarchical order has to go, because both the sciences are extremely important. Humanities are as important as natural sciences are as important as humanities. Science without people and people without science, no combination can really go for fixed God. And that's the message you get from work and contribution of Professor. And I think in his honor, I have prepared some 6-7 minute presentation given the time constraint that I have. What I wish to point out is this intertwining of our development strategy, which brings in possibility of blurring away of the distinction between natural and social sciences. First and foremost is the point of basic needs and quality of life. And this is something which is important in terms of how we close the gap to achieve the basic needs and improving life standards for all. This I think largely brings in the need for technology self-sufficiency and also innovation. This has to be translated at the level of village panchayat or at the grassroots level in the urban areas with the municipal corporation. How to reduce cost of water purification, recycling, and this is something which is extremely important for us to ensure basic needs of not only water supply, for example, which I can now get, but also in terms of clean air, and this require huge intervention from science and technology. There are institutional initiatives of various scientific establishments, some of them led and catalyzed by Professor Sharma as Secretary CST, and they are now delivering in terms of how we are going to go forward. The second area is to encourage India as industrial manufacturing hub. This is again one area which with ASEAN, Professor Sharma initiated, and we are trying to see how we can transform India's GDP in terms of bringing in, and our target is 25% of GDP, which is only 17% now. So this jump that we have to make in manufacturing, which has to go from 17% to 25%, in what way we can achieve that. The third is climate change and renewable energy, on which we just now heard of, but also in terms of India T20 has tried to play an important role in terms of having a record in our ability to leverage fossil fuel and its phasing out manner that we achieve by 2017 net zero. And this would need the green growth and also the MSME empowerment. And that is largely enabled us to have STI for science, technology, innovation for achieving sustainable development goals, which would have a greater say in terms of how ministries can contribute and also how technology can bring in the kind of matrix that we have in mind for the societal, economic, and environmental impact, for bringing in diversity, sustainability matrix, and also trying to bring in three other aspects, and these are what RIS has developed, and when Professor Sharma was secretary, we presented. First and foremost, with the EU countries, we had a research project which brought out scientific social responsibility (SSR), which Prime Minister in his address to the Science Congress in 2018 announced. Second, with the European Commission, we worked on RRI, which is responsible research innovation. RRI is in a major important global initiative in terms of how social and natural sciences work together. Third is something which we have taken forward for bringing in the idea of focusing on the access, equity and inclusion. Now when we talk about AEI, access, equity and inclusion, we try to bring in issues which are important for ensuring access to green technologies, making those programs more equity-oriented and more inclusive in their approach. This would bring in rethinking on benchmarks and important directions of engagement. Before I close, I also want to draw your attention on the efforts which are on in terms of ODI, STI indicators. So OECD has evolved the science, technology, innovation indicators, out of which some of them help us understand the basic program, the scientific social responsibility, and accessibility and inclusion. Now, when these three dimensions come in, these indicators again help us in terms of identifying how scientific R&D infrastructure is coming up and in what way we are encouraging sectors, states, national, and international actors in terms of that. The last one is more about the IDR, which is requires a very robust approach with the new development model to focus on intellectual property rights. Our idea of TRIPS today is important in terms of taking that approach forward, where TRIPS would have good scope to have tests that may relate to intellectual property rights. And that part, I think, is something which is on since Doha now. It covers traditional knowledge and plant variety protection and farmers' rights act, but it also covers the 2005 act that we all adopted for bringing in new governance models for compulsory licensing. There are areas of concern when we bring in TRIPS in a major way. As I said, accessibility and inclusion is the way forward, and the central message that I derive from the tenure of Professor Sharma is to convert these two streams of knowledge for maximizing benefit for all. I stop here, and I hope I have not brought my time. Thank you.
Thank you very much for